So I just want you to at least be fair about what I've actually said about Charlie.
There's no actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. Thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this.
Andrew Wilson went on Piers Morgan Uncensored and took on a panel of woke idiots, including Ana Kasparian here, who Andrew Wilson gets into a very heated argument with. Andrew Wilson and Ana Kasparian go back and forth here on Piers Morgan Uncensored about many different topics. Andrew Wilson calling out Ana Kasparian for her woke takes here. Let's get into this clip, though, where Ana Kasparian and Andrew Wilson go at it in a very heated debate here live on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Political violence plays out far worse. Now you're hearing talk of retaliation in a violent way. When it comes to the Trump administration, you're hearing, policies that are being proposed that would limit the legitimate political speech of Americans. I am concerned about that. What that disgusting murderer did is he pushed for this country to devolve further. And I wish that cooler heads would prevail, but at the same time, I don't begrudge people who are angry. I mean, that poor wife and her 2 children witnessed Charlie Kirk get shot and killed in the neck. I don't begrudge her at all for being furious. No. I can't even imagine where my headspace would be at right now if that happened to my husband.
Right. Andrew Wilson, where were you when you heard about Charlie Kirk, and what is your view of the fallout from this?
Yeah, I was sitting with my wife watching TV. So the thing is I remember this picture circulating around of Charlie Kirk. He was debating the incoming president of the Oxford Union, and they were all smiles and handshakes. And by the next day, this guy was saying the most insane rhetoric about how he basically had it coming. So how many of these leftists have murderous intent? When we show up to have a conversation with them. We show up to debate our views. We show up to in some way engage with them. How many of them have seething murderous intent behind their eyes, and they don't really want to do any of that? They really want you dead. And that is the biggest demonstration of that, by the way, in that one single picture. You have Ana Kasparian here, and she's talking about this. The Young Turks called Charlie Kirk a fascist how many times? The Young Turks played into this rhetoric how much? They went out of their way to do so. Rubin recently called him out for doing it. So
I've never called him a fascist.
Hang on.
I've literally never. I don't even call Trump a fascist.
I didn't interrupt you once, lady.
But you can't make things up about what I've said about Charlie Kirk.
You can talk when I'm done talking, like I was respectful enough to let you do. So the thing is like, yes, they do. This network does do that, and these leftists do that. And they set all the rhetoric up in the world to make sure something like this happened, and they were dancing on the grave of this guy before he was even cold. I have tweets from Destiny which are insane. The leftists have gone off the reservation. And it's time for us to stop pretending that it's not their rhetoric which is leading to these types of assassinations, because it is. I don't want to hear about factions. All of you guys are doing this. All of you guys have the same type of rhetoric which leads to this, or the networks you work for do.
Yeah, it's 100% spot on. I remember saying the same thing about whenever Trump almost got assassinated, and the next day you go watch shows like The View or The Young Turks. And I know Ana Kasparian has kind of turned over a new leaf, and she has more common sense than she used to, for sure. But what Andrew Wilson is saying still holds up, in that these people genuinely do want the other side dead. They want Charlie Kirk dead. They want Trump dead. And that's craziness, because I would never, as much as I disagree with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and everybody at the Young Turks, except for Ana Kasparian recently, I disagree with them on almost everything. And I disagree with Ana Kasparian on a whole lot of things as well, but I would never want any of them dead. It doesn't even cross my mind. Like, it's not even a thought that I have to to dispel. It's just like, that's not even a thought that crosses my mind. But these people genuinely, they hear that you disagree with them and they're like, oh, I want you dead. That's how they think. It's craziness. And they don't even have enough honor, integrity to, respect like it's a human at the end of the day, man. Yeah, he disagreed with your political takes, but it's a human that had a wife, had kids. Like, you don't have enough integrity to just say rest in peace and kind of just move on. Normally, you know, like if you get into an argument with a friend, you'll hate the friend for a while, but then one of the family members dies, or maybe a mutual friend dies, or something bad happens like that, and you're like, you know what, that argument that we had, it really wasn't that deep. Like, it wasn't that serious. Maybe we should just like bury the hatchet and be friends again, because at the end of the day, life is fragile, and you know, it makes you realize things. But with these people, it's like it brings out the worst in them. You know, like somebody gets killed because of the rhetoric that they're talking about, and it's like it gets even worse. They're like, oh no, we're not going to go back on what we said. We're going to take it up a notch. We're going to say he deserved it. Like, what? And that's what I've been saying, dude, for the longest time. For years, I've been saying this on my channels, that I've taken the black pill on this whole thing. These leftists are out of their mind. There is no reasoning with them. There's no point in debating them. They're off their rocker. Like, they're not coming back. They're not coming back to reality.
Well, Anna, let me let you respond to that before I bring Cornell.
I've never called him. I have never called Charlie Kirk a fascist, number one. In fact, if anything, we have received a tremendous amount. I don't remember Trump. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. In fact, Cenk and I got into a debate about whether or not. Hold on. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. He called Trump a fascist, and he and I got into a debate about that. But to lump in everyone on the left together, I don't agree with Destiny on anything these days. Destiny is totally unhinged in his rhetoric, 100%. I have been critical of Charlie Kirk's political views, but going around referring to people as Nazis, you know, turning the temperature up, I did not engage in that. So I just want you to at least be fair about what I've actually said about Charlie.
There's no actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. Thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not a leftist. I'm sorry. Are you on the left wing? Are you a Democrat? Are you more of a Democrat than you are a Republican? Do you move towards those types of issues?
I'm not a Democrat. I actually registered as an independent.
Fine. You register as an independent.
Come on, you gotta at least know what my views are if you're going to attack me.
All right, let me bring in. All right, let me bring in.
I've been attacked by the left over the last 3 years.
All right, let me bring in.
No. I've been attacked by the left. No, let me just at least address that. I've been attacked viciously by leftists over the last 3 years because of the fact that I want to engage in this type of dialogue, because of the fact I was willing to sit down with Charlie Kirk and with Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. I'm willing to have conversations, and I don't go around labeling people as fascist and racist and Nazis just because I disagree with them.
Just the organization you work for does?
At least understand what my political views are. Listen. I'm not going to be blamed for what everyone in that company has to say. Anyone in that company has to say. I'm an individual. The head of that company? We are supposed to judge people based on individuals. He did not go around calling Charlie Kirk a fascist and a Nazi.
Saying that you don't have good reasoning skills. If it's the case that you think, oh my God, you can't be calling people Nazis. You can't be calling people Nazis while your boss does all the time.
Why are you making that up? You're just making it up. You're just making it up. We're all the same. That's how simple-minded you are. You're all the same. Okay, then everyone on the right.
Yeah, I get where Ana Kasparian's coming from, and I appreciate it. I didn't know that she officially said that she's not a leftist anymore. That's kind of crazy. But I also see where Andrew Wilson's coming from, because from Andrew Wilson's perspective, you know, Charlie Kirk just got assassinated. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump. There's been a lot of shootings, and there's always like, you know, if you find the manifestos and the evidence, it's all like they always hate Christians, they always hate white people, whatever. And so from Andrew Wilson's perspective, and from a lot of people on the right wing's perspective, it's like, oh, all these people are just evil. Or at least if this many people are evil, and the consequences for maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt and saying that maybe they're not all evil is that you might get assassinated, it's probably better if you just assume that they're all evil, because the risk is not worth the reward. You know, the risk is that you might assume wrongly and give one the benefit of the doubt that doesn't deserve it, that does want you dead, because there is so many of them that do want you dead, and then you might be dead. So why would we just assume, you know, like for Ana Kasparian's situation, if your entire organization is calling Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, and all these people fascist because they disagree with you, I think it is fair for Andrew Wilson to say, you probably think the same thing if you're willing to work for these people. And once again, I'm not saying Ana Kasparian would ever do anything violent. I don't think she would at all, like not even a little bit. But, you know, after all of these tragic events happen, you can't really blame Andrew Wilson for lumping everybody together and saying, you know what, if you're going to be on that side at all, you are evil. And it's just not, even if you're not evil, it's just not worth it for me to give you the benefit of the doubt of not being evil. It's just not worth it. It's safer to assume that you're all evil.
It's just like Dylan Roof.
All right. Let me
minded that.
Let me bring in. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell. He's been waiting.
Shut up,
please let Cornell come in now. He's been waiting very patiently. Cornell, welcome back to Uncensored. I don't know.
Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored. Who do you think won that little debate? Do you think it was Andrew Wilson, or do you think it was Ana Kasparian? Let me know in the comments what do you guys think about this episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored, where Andrew Wilson and Ana Kasparian go at it here live on Piers Morgan Uncensored.